Welcome to the Men's Mysteries Podcast. This is Taylor Elwood, and today we're going to be talking about what is sacred, sovereign masculinity and how to reconnect with the inner king within you. Now, if you're on Substack, please go ahead and restack and share this video and subscribe. If you're on YouTube, make sure that you subscribe to the Men's Mysteries YouTube so that you can get more messages and more videos and information like this. The benefit of this podcast and really the benefit of the work that I do in general is that I am helping men empower themselves and take back and reclaim who they are, reconnecting with their mission and purpose, getting in touch with their core values, living a life of confidence, presence, and awareness where they are able to get the things that they want and need because they cleanly and clearly communicate. And that's what this episode is about. Because right now, there are a lot of men out there in the world who are fundamentally lost. They don't know how to express what they want cleanly and clearly. They aren't confident. They don't feel empowered. And in fact, they have internalized a lot of messages that society has told them, which is that men are the problem, masculinity is toxic, and you should be ashamed to be a man. And as a result, this has also turned them toward what I'll call the immature masculine current, which says that men are entitled to get sex whenever they want it. Men are entitled to have women obey them. Men are entitled to, to basically, and particularly white men are entitled to be, successful and have all the wealth and everything else. And this is really, in a fundamental sense, patriarchal messaging that's not really serving anybody, not even the majority of white men. And I say this as a white man. Fundamentally, immature masculinity is disempowering men because what it's doing is it's expecting that men will displace their power and put it towards someone else, whether that is the leader of the country that they are in, the boss at their corporate job or their workplace, or displacing the emotional labor and the work onto the woman and expecting the woman to basically take care of them and take care of their needs, but not fully showing up and being present. The other aspect of this is that men are cut off from their masculinity in one sense because we've also been told on the other hand that, men and women are equal. And what I'm going to argue here is that men and women are equivalent. And there's a difference there. This isn't to take away from a woman's accomplishments or the fact that there are many intelligent, creative, powerful women who have done amazing things out there, because there are. There are a lot of women who have done amazing, powerful things. And this isn't to privilege men and say that men are the only ones who can solve the problems and fix things or anything like that. That doesn't work either. But there is something to be said for recognizing that there is a very real and embodied experience to being a man and being a woman, and that they are not the same things. And the way that that embodied experience expresses itself in ourselves, in our daily lives, and in the rhythms of our lives actually matters. When I am with a woman who is in touch with her cycle, in touch with the way that her body changes her body changes as her cycle goes through, and she's in touch with her inner feminine awareness and power and presence, it does not diminish her that she is not the same as me. If anything, it allows her to tap into and connect with the deeply rooted power of her presence and being so that she can fully show up in that and offer that. And for me as a man, when I connect with the masculine rhythm and the masculine presence and that drive and purpose and mission, which is part of being a man, part of what drives men is that connection to that and that sense of like, what are we doing to go out? What am I doing to show up in the world and make and show up for my relationships and all those other things? That is something essential to men, and it has been stripped away. And here's the thing, acknowledging this does not take away from either men or women. It doesn't have to anyway. It only takes away when we have knee-jerk reactions where it's like, well, no, they have to be the same. Well, we're not the same. We are equivalent in many different ways, and that equivalency shows up in different ways. It's important to acknowledge and recognize that, because part of helping men get in touch with their sacred sovereign masculinity is helping men to recognize a couple of very key important facets to their being. One, it is good to be a man. It is good to be a man. Being a man when he is in touch with his sacred, sovereign, masculine presence, that mature masculinity where he shows up fully embodied and present, aware, attentive, and focused, is a good thing. Most men are not showing up with that. That's what I see every day. And as speaking as a man who used to be that way, who definitely operated from a place of immature masculinity in my own time, I get it. Society has not set things up to make it easy for men. And I'm not saying that society is really ultimately at blame. It's just that men necessarily need to go out there into the world and have initiatory experiences that take them outside and away from the original environment that they're in. Men have to be challenged. And one part of the aspect of being challenged, though, is that men also necessarily need to have brotherhood. They need to come together, connecting with each other in a way where they are able to see, I can work with this other man, I can bond with this other man, I can trust this man. Men don't trust each other. And that lack of trust disempowers men overall. Because if I can't trust you as a man, then I am going to always operate from a place of how can I angle things? How can I get the results that I want? What can I do to basically have control over this situation? It's not working for men. It's not working for women. It's not working for society when we are fundamentally being pitted against ourselves and each other. Getting in touch with being a sovereign, sacred man, getting in touch with that inner king, is fundamentally about coming back to who and what I am as a man and honoring it. Below in the show notes, there is a guide called the Sovereign Code, and it is essentially the 12 principles of healthy masculinity that help you become an empowered, embodied man. And the reason I put that guide together is to show you how you can take the journey to transform who you are and the way that you show up in the world. I've taken that journey. I used to be a man who was in victim mode. I would blame everything but myself for the circumstances I was in. I didn't like the job I was working at. Well, it was the job's fault. It was my micromanager's fault. It wasn't, oh, you know what? I made a choice to work at that job. I chose to take it on because I wanted to actually make a certain amount of money and I wanted to afford a certain lifestyle. I didn't fully operate from that place of recognition. And once I started to operate from that place of recognition, I was able to ask myself, do I really want to be here anymore? I displaced a lot of the emotional labor in some ways on the relationships on the one that I was in. And then when those relationships didn't work out, I'd be like, it's the woman's fault. Well, and I'm not going to say that there wasn't some truth to the fact that there were some things that were on her end that she was responsible for. But the reality is that I also made choices. I allowed behaviors. I allowed things to occur. I didn't have good boundaries. And this is the fundamental challenge that men have. We need to take responsibility for our lives. We need to take charge of our lives. To become the embodied, sacred, sovereign man means that we have to be willing to fully step into presence with ourselves, to take better care of ourselves, to choose ourselves, to fully say, I have value and worth in and of myself, and not because I'm in relationship with somebody else. What's happening a lot of the time for men is that we've basically been told you only have value if you're working at a high powered job where you're making 6 or more figures a year, and you're working all the time, 80 to 100 hour weeks, right? We've been told you only have value if you're in a relationship with a woman and you're fucking her every night. Maybe you're not even in the mood to have sex with her every night, but you're told you're supposed to. Or that you're supposed to have sex with as many different women as possible. And I acknowledge this. I acknowledge, by the way, that yes, I'm speaking about this from a heterosexual perspective because I'm a cisgender, heterosexual white man. But I also recognize that there are many different flavors out there, and I suspect that there are at least some of what I'm sharing here still applies regardless. But if it doesn't, take that in stride. What we've been told fundamentally is that we have to show up in a certain way. And yet we're not, what we're not told is, hey, you have value in and of yourself. When you're told that you have value if you're in a relationship with somebody else, or you have value if you're a father and have kids, or you have value if you're working at a high stake job, but we're not told, hey, you have value because you choose to honor and take care of yourself. You choose to prioritize yourself and your wants and needs. We have lost our way. And let me be very clear here. This isn't about saying, well, you showed up for the contest, so you get a participation ribbon, because that doesn't help either. That has also fundamentally disempowered so many people. Valuing yourself is saying, I choose to make myself a priority. I choose to value myself. I choose to take care of myself. I choose to respect and trust myself. And that only happens when we start prioritizing how we show up in the world for ourselves so that we can show up for other people. Becoming the king of your own life, the leader of your life, involves connecting with the sacred sovereign masculine. And recognizing that being a man is a good thing. That being a man can be good. And let me be very clear here. It's not even a question of like being a man is inherently good. It's how you choose to show up as a man. It's how you choose to do that. A lot of people will say, well, don't make it about being a man, or don't make it about being a woman, or whatever. And the problem with that is that fundamentally takes away from our identity. I am a man. First and foremost, I am a man. I cannot separate myself out from being a man. And trying to separate myself out from being a man just used to cause so many problems. It caused me to feel ashamed of being a man. It caused me to reject an essential part of myself. It disempowered me. But when I fully stepped into and accepted and welcomed the fact that, yes, I am a man, and I'm actually proud to be a man. It's good to be a man. I like being a man. I like the way that I show up as a confident, assertive, aware, present, attentive man, where I can fully be present with myself and with my partner in a way where she fully trusts me and lands with me and is able to open up to me and be in with me. Yeah, that is a wonderful experience. And it happens in no small part when men fully embrace who they are as men and accept that it can be a good thing to be a man. It happens when men discover brotherhood and connection and community with each other, when they are able to reach out. And when they're told to be vulnerable, they say, you know what? Yeah, I can be vulnerable. And I can, if anything, I can choose to have brotherhood and connection with other men, as well as have connection with my romantic partner, and that they are equally of value. One isn't better than the other. They just serve different functions. Because I can say that when I am able to connect with other men in a meaningful and powerful way, when I am able to connect with men and share the challenges and the frustrations and the difficulties that I'm going through, it actually allows me to show up better as a man for the woman in my life. It allows me to show up better in general in my life, because I'm not pushing it down. I'm not keeping it to myself. I'm not trying to figure out the right words to say. I'm not trying to strategize how I'm going to get my needs and wants met. Because I'm getting a lot of those needs and wants met by taking care of myself, by connecting with other men, and also connecting with my partner, but doing it from a place of empowered, sacred sovereignty. Men need to become the kings of their own lives. And so often, what ends up happening is men put that power toward the woman. They'll look at a woman and they'll say, oh, she's so beautiful. If I could just get her, I will have everything I need. I felt that way. I can guarantee that other men also do. And if you're a man and you find yourself nodding and you're like, yep, I felt that way, own it. Just be honest about it. Like, there's nothing wrong with acknowledging that that is the case. We have been conditioned by society to look at things that way. And it does not serve us. What I tell myself these days isn't, oh, if I can just be with that person, then I'll have everything. No, it's that person's lucky to be with me. That, yes, that woman's beautiful. Yes, that woman's intelligent. Yes, she's creative and magical and everything else. I have someone in my life that I think that, and I say that to her. You know what I also say, as I say to myself, and I am also magical. I am also powerful. I am a sacred king. Because I know that when I honor myself, I am not putting all of that on her. I am not putting her into a situation where she's on a pedestal. Because I don't want to pedestal her. If I pedestal her, I'm not going to show up for her when she needs me. When I say to her, hey, seems like you're really tired. Maybe you need to get some sleep. Stop pushing yourself. Or hey, I noticed today you seem a little bit a little bit slower, or a little bit more, or things seem a little crazier for you. Where are you in your cycle? What can I do to support you? That's what she craves. That's what she wants. And that's not what women are getting from men. Instead, we're objectifying them. And then we get angry when we don't get sex. We get angry when she doesn't want to connect with us relationally. We get angry because we feel like we're doing everything right and it doesn't work. And here's the thing, we're not doing everything right. We're not connecting relationally. We're not connecting authentically and genuinely because we're not connecting with ourselves. We're not connecting with ourselves. If you're a man who is watching this right now and you find yourself nodding, I want you to go and get that guide. And I want you to reach out to me because there is a better path and a better way. But it can't happen as long as we displace our sacred, divine, natural, beautiful masculinity. It can't happen as long as we shame ourselves for being men. We need to reclaim the joy of being a man. And when we can do that, we will show up better for ourselves and better for the people in our lives. And as a result, we will be better and safer for the world around us. If you're watching this, first of all, subscribe, share, restack, comment on this. If you're on YouTube, do the same, comment and share it, and get the guide. Because that is taking the first step toward reclaiming your sacred, sovereign masculinity. Thanks for watching and have a great day.